Hi, I'm Pat and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to install vinyl wrap over this aluminum piece on the Acura NSX. If you're new to the channel, please click the subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications, as I'll be posting more cool car content like this. Today I actually decided I wanted to cover this aluminum piece, which is called the beak, with some black vinyl wrap. And I didn't want to paint match this to the car. I figured let me just give it a try matching it to the bumper and see whether I like it or not. I think it'll give it a really neat aggressive look compared to if I painted it to match the body color. So that's what we're going to get started with today. I have this roll of TECKWRAP, and this is about 5 foot long by a foot wide. And this piece here is about 4 feet long, but of course it moves up and down, so you need a big piece of vinyl in order to cover this area. Now, I am new to vinyl wrapping. I've never really done any vinyl work before. The majority of the vinyl work that I've done is mainly using the Cricut vinyl cutter in order to make stickers like the side of my car. So this will be a new process for me to play with today to see how well I do. I make no promises, so if you have any comments in the comment box below saying, Pat, you screwed up, yeah, I already know. Let's get started. So I've already cleaned this area up with isopropyl alcohol and a microfiber cloth, and I know that I can get underneath the silver part, and then I know that the silver part butts up against another plastic part right here. So I know that after I get the vinyl over the top here, I can tuck it, but here I'm going to have to just cut it and let it lay. Now you won't be able to see this part. As you can tell, this is where the fender ends, and that's where the hood will also be. So I'm not really worried about how it looks here, but I got to make sure that this vinyl is actually tucked under here. Now, this TECKWRAP is extremely cheap. The other vinyl that I bought over the years has been 3M vinyl, and I've been really happy with it. TECKWRAP is probably one of the lower quality wraps from what I've read about online. So I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I figured I'd give it a try, and if I didn't like it, I could just take it off. So this was $10 for a 5 foot section. That's about a foot high. So as I unroll this, we'll get to see exactly how it's going to lay over top of the car. And you'll see what I mean, where I need to actually make sure it's a foot high, because if it wasn't, well, I wouldn't be able to cover everything from top to bottom. So right about here covers the entire piece. I can go ahead and trim the end of this. That way I don't have a whole lot of extra that I need to work with. All right, I've trimmed my vinyl piece, so it's just a little bit longer on the ends than this piece. So the next step in the process, what I think I'm going to do is use knifeless tape. And if I stick the knifeless tape along this black edge, then after I lay the vinyl down, I can use the knifeless tape in order to make the perfect cut. So then all I have to do is tuck the remaining underneath the silver piece. That way I think I can easily get this trimmed without having to worry about trying to use a razor blade and get it perfectly cut. Now I could always use the razor on this part where it touches up here, because of course you won't be able to see this, and if it's not the perfect edge, it doesn't matter to me. So I think that's going to be today's strategy. Let's start with the knifeless tape. So here I have the 3M Design Line knifeless tape, and all it is this roll of green stuff. And this is almost like a dental floss. It's almost like dental floss, and it's surrounded by some plastic here, some vinyl, and as you take it off, it's sticky. So here's a piece right here. You can see the green is the sticky part, and inside that green section, that's like a little piece of floss. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this on the black part of the bumper first. So the knifeless tape needs to extend beyond the area where you're going to lay the vinyl. So I need to be up here near the red part of the car before I start, so that I have some way to be able to tear it. Otherwise it'll be tucked up too far underneath. So I'm just going to start it near the silver part, but give myself a little bit of working room in order to be able to use the knifeless tape in order to cut the vinyl. Now as I'm coming down here underneath, I'm just going to go ahead and ride the curve that's in the bumper, the black part. All right, so I'm just going to continue along the edge here, the black part on the bumper, and work my way down towards the middle. And it doesn't have to be perfect because this is going to be tucked. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Rebecca, and then she could continue on her side. And what I'm doing is making sure that this is in good contact with the vehicle. Because if I have to pick the vinyl up after I have the sticky side down, I want to be able to move it around and not pull this off the car. I can still see light parts. Here, okay, you're good. You're good. So we're going to go ahead and peel the backing off of this vinyl. So let's go ahead and remove the backing from this and make sure we don't drop the sticker on the floor, and we'll be good to go. You can pull this in, yeah. All right, stop there. Let me just lay it on the car. It'll come your way a little more. And just like head towards, yeah, that way is better, yeah. That's it for now. It probably doesn't need to be moved much. So with this, we're probably going to want to lock it in the middle and then work our way out towards the sides. So being that the point is right there, I'm just going to lock in the point at first. And then let's see if I can pick it up and then work my way up and out. So it's going to be the place where we're going to work at. Get a little bit of a stretch. Yeah. So these squeegees have a soft spot on one end and nothing on the other end. You're going to use the soft spot on the vinyl itself. And what we're doing is we're trying not to really stretch. We're just trying to lock this down so that it's covering the area that we want to work on. And if we work slowly, we can make sure that it covers everything we need it to cover. But I can always pick it back up and start over if I don't like something. Like right in here, I don't like what it's doing. There we go. I think this is the way to do it. This is the best way right here. Once you get the middle locked in, is to pick it up and work your way. Really? Yeah. Mine? Oh, this is perfect. Yeah. You might actually be okay, but yeah, I can say mine's pretty here's where one of the issues I think is going to be is where the divot ends. Where what divot ends? Right here. Oh. Yeah. And this is okay. We can probably go ahead and cut this section out of here before we lock it down so that we have a little bit of relief, you know. So I ended up working it into the divot and not everything else. So I pushed it into that divot and just held it up. It just not... Yeah. So I think that's what I'm going to do next is actually make some relief cuts so that I can take this part out of here because it's pulling on the rest of it. So I cut my excess off, and now I should be able to work with this a little easier. So the very tricky part, of course, is where the divot is in here. So after you are able to mold your vinyl into these areas and make sure that it comes down over the front and up to the lip, now you obviously have an area where there's an impression, and then after the impression, of course, the vinyl wants to wrinkle. So at this point, the only possible way to get past this issue is to make sure that we stretch the vinyl out and then lay it down. So we've already locked it in here and down here so that we know it's not going to move. Now we can take this portion of the vinyl and then stretch it out. So at this point, we want to go ahead and just stretch and be able to pull away and then lay down. In any area that doesn't have a lump to it or a ridge, we can just lock that part in and then work our way around the other sides of it by stretching and then pulling down. And what you're doing is you're using little triangles in order to remove that area where the ridges are at. So I can lock this part down now, and then I can move on underneath and try to straighten this part out. And you want to lock it down over top of the knifeless tape the best you can. All right, so here we are at the end of the knifeless tape. We want to be able to fold the knifeless tape over the vinyl like this and then place the squeegee down. So now we can give it a quick pull, and it should pull and cut the vinyl at the same time. There we go. So now I could just work my way down and continue to cut the vinyl. So at this point, we can remove the part of the vinyl that we don't want stuck to the car. And then we could remove the green part of the knifeless tape that's still stuck underneath the vinyl. All right, so now that we have this all cut, we can go ahead and just use a heat gun. I'm just going to heat this up a little bit so it's a little bit more pliable, and that way we could just tuck it under. Yep, you can see it's starting to curl a little bit.
You do it first. I don't want to break it. Your call.
Here we go. So I already got one part started here, so we're just going to continue to work our way around. And it's going to apply a little heat to this as I go. That way it'll become a little bit more flexible and also more tacky, and it'll lock in underneath. And we'll just continue on down the line. All right, so we've gone ahead and tucked in everything underneath here. I'm just going to heat this up with a touch of heat and then be able to make a score here, and then it should be done. We'll just lock it in one last time. All right, let's lock it in. So I'm going to go ahead and start making my cut, but I'm going to use this as a guide so that I don't cut the car. And there's enough of a lip here in the actual vinyl that I won't actually cut the car. So I'm just going to score it. And get into the vinyl. All right, and so now we can just go ahead and ensure that push our vinyl in as far as we can. Cover the area really well, because this isn't going to really be visible, so it's not needing to look perfect, but as long as it's covered, I am happy. And then we're going to hit it with a little bit of heat and just make sure that these edges are stuck down completely. All right, so now we got everything locked into place. It's all cleaned up, all the fingerprints are off of it. Let's see what it looks like with the hood down. So we no longer have the silver here, and it's not paint color matched as some of the newer Acura NSXs, but now it actually has more of a stealth look because it matches the bumper. I think this is unique. I personally like it, and I believe that it's pretty easy to do as a DIY project. So what do you think? I think this stealth look looks a whole lot better than that silver that was sitting there. And this is easily removable. I don't have to worry about ever having any issues with paint chips, because if I do get a nick in this, I can just take it off and replace it. So if you like today's video, please give me a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment box below. Thanks for watching, and happy motoring.